So the last Dhamma talk, we were discussing about this anicca lakkhana, the characteristic of impermanence. That means the signs of impermanence. So this means when you look or when you contemplate not the mental, physical nature within your experience. What is the sign in this mental, physical nature that tells us that they are impermanent? Okay? So this is called anicca lakkhana, the characteristic of the signs that it is impermanent. Okay, so what is the sign? So we have already discussed hutva abhavatena anicca. So it is impermanence. It is impermanent in the sense of disappearing upon arising. Okay, so the signs of impermanence is the disappearance after he has arisen. Okay, so whenever you contemplate this mental physical phenomena, you see that each time they arise, immediately it disappears, it falls away, it vanishes. Okay, so again and again, so it disappears. Okay, each time, every moment it arises, immediately it disappears. And so when you see this disappearance again and again, which is a sign of impermanence, then you come to realize that it is impermanent. Nothing remains. Everything that arises disappears, falls away, completely vanish. Okay? It does not remain. Remember, when we say disappearance, falling away, vanishing, it means it disappears, falls away, vanishes completely. That means no trace of it remains to be seen. Okay? So impermanent is not like you break a mirror and then there's still pieces lying around. Usually when you say when you see a mirror broken or piece of glass broken, you say, impermanent. Right? So but that one, they still have pieces of it remaining, you see. But when we talk about this mental physical phenomena, and when we say it breaks up, it disappears, it vanishes, that means it completely disappears. And no trace remaining, it completely disappears into thin air. So this is the meaning of impermanent. Nothing remains. So once it disappears, before it disappears, it's still there, it's present, right? But once it disappears, you cannot find it anywhere. It's not that impermanent. You take it, you go and hide it somewhere, store it up somewhere. So not like that. It completely disappears. You cannot find it anywhere anymore. So only when the condition is there again, then that same nature will arise again. So take for example the sound. So this one. So see, when the condition is there, when I put the two fingers together and snap it, the sound arises. Right? Once it arises, where is it? Can you still find it anywhere? Where is the sound? Is it in the fingers, hiding somewhere? It's no longer. It has completely disappeared. Okay? But once the condition comes again, I put the finger again together again, and I snap it again. Again, the sound comes. But once it arises, it again disappear. Right? So that was what we mean. Impermanent. It completely disappear, completely break up, nothing remaining. Okay? If it's still something remaining, we can still say something is permanent. Something still survive. So, but nothing survives. Not everything disappears. Not even a single trace of it remains. That's what we call anicca. So contemplating anicca is actually as simple as hearing this. You see, it disappears. There you know an anicca, right? Yeah. So actually, vipassana is not that difficult. Yeah, it's quite simple. But actually, what is difficult is that anupassana. Anupassana means you have to contemplate it, and you have to note it again and again and again and again, repeatedly, continuously, without a break. Again and again, you have to see the signs of impermanence, that disappearance, moment after moment after moment. Every moment you note, you must discern that it arises and then immediately disappear. You note again, you discern that disappearance. You note again, disappearance. So again and again you must note. That's what anupassana. This one is not easy. You can, 1 or 2 moments here and there, you may be able to discern, it breaks up, it disappears. But to discern this continuously, repeatedly, again and again, continuously without a break, and that is more difficult. This one you need the strength of sati samadhi, the strength of mindfulness, the strength of concentration, and they must be balanced. Only when they are strong and well balanced, then the mind, you are able to hold the mind, focus on the moment to moment arising and disappearing, and then discern again and again the signs of anicca, this anicca lakkhana. Okay, so only by discerning these signs of anicca, this continuous disappearance again and again, then the insight into impermanent will sink in deep into the mind and impress strongly on the mind. Okay? Then only when it impresses the signs of anicca, impress so strongly in the mind, then only the mind will be able to discern the fearful nature, the miserable nature. In this process of this mental, physical nature that is continuously disappearing, vanishing. So when you see this fearful nature, this miserable nature, then only the mind can let go. Let go of attachment. Right? Otherwise, you still hold on tightly, strongly. So don't be too happy if here and there, every now and then, you see things breaking up, disappearing. I've seen anicca already. So one is not strong enough. You must discern it repeatedly again and again until the impression is so strong on the mind. You can see that this is indeed a very fearful nature. So then only the mind can let go. Then only the insight is strong enough to transform the mind, to let go, become detached. Okay? Yeah. Otherwise, you cling to the insight. You say, anicca, already very happy. Cling on to it. So that's another attachment. Yeah. So it is said that when you do not pay attention to the momentary rise and fall of all this mental, physical nature, so this anicca lakkhana, this signs of impermanent, characteristic impermanent, it is concealed by continuity. Okay. Yeah. So that means when you don't practice vipassana meditation, or even if you practice Your mind is not clear enough yet to discern the moment to moment rise and fall. That means the Sankhata Lakkhana. So this Anicca Lakkhana will be concealed by continuity. That means this idea that something is existing continuously, unchanged, does not disappear. So even though it is actually arising and disappearing continuously, but because you do not discern this momentary rise and fall, so they all appear joined together as one continuous whole thing that is continuously existing, remaining the same, unchanged. So it's the same abdomen that is rising, falling throughout the day. So if a yogi is deep in vipassana, he sees there's no abdomen, it's just this physical nature continuously arising one after another after another. But when your mind is not clear enough yet to pay attention to this moment to moment arising and disappearing, then you think that it's the same abdomen that I brought from home to the meditation center. And this same abdomen, whole day I'm looking at it going up, going down, going up, going down. You think it's the same abdomen. And not when you go to sleep, next morning you wake up again, my abdomen's still here. So continuity. You think it is existing, the same thing is existing continuously, unchanging. So when you do not discern the rise and fall, then your attention falls on this continuity. So again and again, you miss, you fail to discern the rise and fall. That means you miss the signs of impermanence. So in this way, it is concealed. So concealed by the continuity. Okay, so because you think it is continuous, so you cannot see through that to discern the arising and disappearing moment to moment. So it is concealed. The signs of impermanence are concealed away by this continuity. So in order to realize the nature of impermanence, so the yogi needs to be able to discern the signs of impermanence, that disappearance upon arising. Every single moment, that means discern that every single nature, whether mental or physical nature that arises, it disappears immediately. So you discern this again and again and again. It keeps disappearing. Whatever mental or physical nature arises, they disappear. So then only you can come to understand the nature of impermanence, to discern the nature, realize the nature of impermanence. Well, of course, you have to begin your practice by discerning the sabhava nature, the unique characteristic, the mental, physical phenomena. So hardness, softness, stiffness, tightness, tension, knowing, feeling, perceiving. So first you must be able to discern this mental and physical nature clearly. So when they are clear enough, then you will be able to notice that each of this nature, whether mental or physical, they arises and then they disappear. Every time you note them, they arise. You notice that they arise and disappear. Okay. So at first you are just noting, like when you note rising, you're just noting like tightness, or pushing, one after another. Okay. But when they are clear enough, then each time when you're not pushing, then you notice that the pushing arises and then it disappears. Okay. Another pushing arises, you notice also it arises and then it disappears. again and again, you notice that it disappears upon arising. Okay? Yeah. So this Sankata Lakkhana, the nature arising, disappearing, conditioned nature. So by noting the Sankata Lakkhana again and again, the nature of disappearance again and again, then gradually the yogi comes to realize the nature of impermanence. Okay? So that means the nature of anicca. Anicca Lakkhana is actually in the Sankata Lakkhana itself. That disappearance. The Sankata Lakkhana is arising and disappearing. Okay? So Anicca Lakkhana is actually that disappearance upon arising. Okay? So when you come, when you notice this nature again and again, it keeps disappearing. Anything that arises, it keeps disappearing. Okay? Nothing that arises does not disappear. If it arises and does not disappear, that means it's what? It's permanent, right? When you notice in your experience very clearly, nothing remains. Everything, each time mental or physical nature arises, immediately it disappears. Again and again, you notice this. When you see this again and again and again, you become convinced of the nature of impermanence. You realize the nature of impermanent. Nothing is permanent. Sabbe sankhara aniccati. Yada panyaya pasati atane bindadi duke esa maggo visuddhiya. Sabbe sankhara aniccati. All formations, means all the nama rupa, they are anicca, they are impermanent. Everything, every mental physical phenomena, you realize they disappear immediately. So you realize sabbe sankhara aniccati. Yeah, without exception. Without exception, there is not even one single mental or physical nature there is an exception to this rule. Everything that you know disappear. So when you see this again and again, you realize sabbe sankhara aniccati. All sankharas are impermanent. So it says yada panyaya pasati. When one sees this with panya, with wisdom. Okay. So what wisdom is this? This is anicca anupasana jnana. This wisdom is the knowledge that discerns, that contemplate the nature of impermanence. Okay? Or the knowledge that arises from the contemplation of the signs of impermanence. Okay? So when yada panyaya pasati, when one sees this with wisdom, so this is actually vipassana insight. This wisdom is a vipassana jnana itself. Okay? Atthani bindati dukkhe. Then one becomes disenchanted with this process of suffering. Okay? Or you can even say disgusted with this process of suffering. Okay? Because you see again and again, it keeps breaking up. There's nothing good in this. What goes is it something that does not remain, keep breaking up. Right? There's no security there. It's unreliable. No true refuge there. Even your happiness also disappear. So it's not a true refuge for one who seeks for true happiness. So one becomes disenchanted with it. Unlike a person who does not practice vipassana meditation, you become wholly enchanted with it. You delight in it, right? You delight in the process of suffering. You delight in seeing, delight in hearing, in smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. This is the process of nama rupa, right? You delight because of ignorance, not seeing clearly that they are impermanent, right? So you become attached to it, to them. You see them as permanent, as pleasurable, as a self. Okay? So you become wholly enchanted by it. But when yogi is experiencing deep insight into nature, impermanent, atta nibbinda didukke, it becomes disenchanted with this process of suffering. Esamago visuddhiya. This is the path to purity. This is the way, this development of insight. This is the path to purity. This is the path to the purification of mind from the cause of suffering. What is the cause of suffering? Attachment. Right? So when one sees again and again the nature of impermanent, then when it sinks deep into the mind just let go of attachment. When it becomes disenchanted with this process of suffering, it wants to have nothing more to do with it. It lets go of attachment. So you can experience seeing, hearing, smelling, and so on without any attachment. But here, again, you need to emphasize. So even though we have already explained nature of Sankata Lakkhana, nature Anicca Lakkhana, but in your practice, again, don't go and search for it. Okay, it is there if your mind is clear enough. When you have developed your mind sufficiently, when your mind is clear enough, it is there. The mind will be able to discern it clearly. Okay? You don't have to go searching for it. So you just need to keep to your practice. Just keep noting as usual, making effort to observe continuously, precisely, with ardent, energetic effort, with mindfulness, with clear comprehension. Okay? So as the mind gets clearer and clearer to this continuous development of practice, then this nature that should appear clearly to the mind and impress clearly and naturally on the mind. You don't need to go searching for them. Okay? So they will pop up to the mind. So if your wisdom is sharp enough, you cannot help but notice them. Yeah, so don't go searching for them. Where is it that this Bhante said this? Where is it? And some yogis ask, if you don't want us to search, why you go explain all this to us? Yeah, reason is so. Especially for yogis who are in long-term, intensive meditation retreat, to keep you motivated. So, otherwise, in a long retreat, and especially when you are not making any headway in your practice, not progressing, so you start to become demotivated. You start to think, all this rising, falling, ask us to note again and again, rising, falling, whole day the same, rising, falling, boring. So we explain to you, there's something else beyond rising, falling. So when you know there's something else, then you become motivated. I must work harder in my practice. So also to another reason is to give you a clear idea of what vipassana meditation is really all about. So to show you when we are explaining all this nature, sabbhava lakkhana, sankhata lakkhana, samanya lakkhana, actually essentially we are describing to you the entire path of development of vipassana meditation. It's like the map, giving you the map So when you know the map, it gives you the clear direction where you are supposed to head in your practice. You know where you, so that you know where you're supposed to be heading, and don't get lost. So, so give you an idea what vipassana is really all about. Yeah. So otherwise, you do not know. For you, vipassana meditation is just rising, falling. Sometimes I ask yogi, what is vipassana meditation? I say, rising, falling. Rising, falling is just an object that you use to develop vipassana. But it's not vipassana meditation itself, it's just an object for vipassana meditation. In fact, you can actually do vipassana meditation without rising, falling. You can contemplate sitting, touching, right? Or the walking meditation, lifting, pushing, dropping. At that time, you're not contemplating rising, falling, right? Some yogis use anapana for vipassana, also can. If you can handle it. So, yeah. So vipassana is meditation is more than just rising, falling. So that's why we describe to you this entire practice. How is it like from beginning to the end? How is it like? Actually, what we have been describing is still actually very general. You want to know really in very detail, you're going to read Visuddhimagga. That it tells you very, very detailed. So detailed that most people blur when they read Visuddhimagga. Mostly because it's so technical and you must have some Abhidhamma knowledge in order to understand. Or at least you must have experience, insight knowledge before. Then you read, then you will not be so lost. So even if you don't have Abhidhamma knowledge, but if you have experience, insight before, when you read Visuddhimagga, especially those part on describing the purification and the various stages of insight, and then you will not be lost. You can relate to it. And the third reason why we explain in detail is in order to establish yogi in a foundation of right view. Right view concerning nature of especially the first noble truth, the truth of suffering. Right? Now, what is the truth of suffering? The five aggregates subject to clinging is the truth of suffering. That means nama rupa. So when we explain this nature of the nama rupa, we're actually explaining the truth of suffering, nature of the truth of suffering. Okay? So actually when you contemplate this nama rupa, you are discovering the nature of the truth of suffering. Why is it suffering? So you see for yourself. Why is it suffering? You see, later on we discuss dukkha lakkhana, signs of suffering. So these are the reasons why we explained to you all this various nature of the nama rupa. Doing so, we are not asking you to go and search for it in your experience. Okay, just to give you a clear idea. Okay, unless during the interview the teacher asks you to specifically direct your attention, to the physical sensation, or direct your attention to notice the arising or the disappearance. Unless you are asked to do so, otherwise don't go searching for it. Okay? So for some yogis, as we explained the other day, it is necessary for us them to specifically direct their attention to notice all this different nature. Sometimes because even though they have developed to a stage where their mind should be clear enough, to discern all this nature. But because they are not paying attention to them. Okay? So, because mostly is because they still cling on to the beginner's object. That is the rising, falling. Must have rising, falling. Rising, falling must be clear. They must see this abdomen round, like a ball going up and down. Then only I'm meditating correctly. So they cling on to that. You cling on to that, then you don't even go beyond the concept to realize the nature of Sabbawa. So therefore, and after some time you still do not notice this nature, then the teacher might ask you to start paying attention to the physical sensation. So, and also sometimes for some yogis, the root of wisdom is not sharp enough. So it's not sharp enough. The minds do not know how to proceed. So you cannot go beyond the concept to the Sabbhava. Sometimes you can come to realize the nature of Sabbhava, but then it gets stuck there. Then you cannot go beyond that to realize the nature of Sankata Lakkana. So after a very long time, I still seeing all this tightness, stiffness, tension, pulling, pushing. So after a very long time, when the teacher finds that it's too long already, then you ask them to pay attention to the nature of arising and the nature of disappearance of this Sabbhava. Okay? So, so these are for yogis. Wisdom is not, the wisdom root is not sharp enough. So the mind does not jump straight into discerning all this nature. Okay? It goes very slowly, very slowly, very slowly. So, but other yogis, you see, their wisdom root is sharp. So you don't need to prompt them to discern all this nature. Once their samadhi is well established and there's sufficient clarity, immediately all this, the nature of arising and disappearing become prominent in his experience. And then mind naturally gravitates towards it. It naturally begin to realize, because it's so clear, the arising and disappearing, immediately the mind, because the wisdom is so sharp, you realize it, you notice it. Oh, why is it keep jumping, disappearing, breaking up? So the wisdom naturally is sharp enough to pick it up. Okay? So for these yogis, they don't need prompting. That's why sometimes you find these yogis, some yogis, they do not have any theoretical knowledge. They don't study the suttas, don't study Abhidhamma until their mind get all entangled. So, but what they have is they have listened to the Dhamma explaining the basic instruction, and then they have faith. Saddha is very strong, and that's all they have. They tell them about Nama, Rupa, 5 aggregates, 6 sense space. They do not know. All they know there's object. Then you are supposed to know. You are supposed to follow continuously from beginning to the end. Make effort. So they just know this. And so they follow because they have the faith, the saddha. So by noting continuously, when their mind, when their noting mind sufficiently developed, mindfulness, concentration is sufficiently developed, there's enough clarity, naturally they come to observe all these various nature that we have described, often without even realizing it, that they are actually experiencing all these different nature, because they have no theoretical knowledge. Yeah, so in Penang, last time I don't know about now, because nowadays I don't really go out and associate so much with people. Go back to Penang, except where people will come to Peace House, and sometimes when I go to Santarama. Otherwise, I don't go out and associate with people. Yeah, but I know last time in Penang, there's a lot of these auntie uncles. So, actually the Vipassana meditation movement in Malaysia actually began from Penang. The first meditation center is in Penang, MBMC, Malaysian Buddhist Meditation Center. So those days, a lot of this, when they started, a lot of auntie uncles there go and meditate. They have a lot of faith. By you ask them to quote suttas, what suttas? Abhidhamma, definitely they do not know. Nowadays you study all these Abhidhamma, all these suttas. They all do not know anything. They just practice. After the practice, you go and discuss Dhamma with them. You ask them to describe their experience. They can describe to you very clearly in very simple everyday language. But in that description, you find unmistakable signs. Description of the signs of anicca, dukkha, anatta. So, yeah. These yogis, their mind is very simple. They just contemplate, follow the basic instruction with saddha. And usually they progress faster than those who are stuck with suttas, stuck with Abhidhamma. So, because when you have all this knowledge, you tend to think, especially in the beginning stage of the practice. You experience something only, aha, I know this. You aha like this, you interrupt your practice already. But because this auntie, uncle, they don't have all this knowledge. So when they experience, okay lah, experience. So they continue experiencing. So they never interrupt their practice. So they practice, their insight can go deeper and deeper and deeper. So if you ask them, just like the Buddha asked the bhikkhus, he said, Rupam nityam wa anityam wa. Is the rupa permanent or impermanent? But of course, this auntie and uncle, you cannot say rupa, they do not know what rupa, what you're talking about. They say, when you ask them, sengku, engwan bo engwan, this body, is it permanent, impermanent? They say, of course, impermanent. Like the bhikkhus reply the Buddha, aniccham bhante, impermanent bhante. This auntie uncle will tell you, of course, impermanent. You see, jumping, breaking up. So, how can it be permanent? So, and then you ask them, like the Buddha asked, yam pana nityam dukkam wa tam sukham wa. So that which is impermanent, is it dukkha or sukha? So the monks will reply, dukkam bhante. So actually this reply from the monks is from their experience. It's not from book knowledge, because they have experienced themselves before, so they can reply confidently. You ask these yogis also, they say, of course, how can it be sukha? It's so, I feel so uncomfortable whenever I see this skin keep breaking up. It did chun, did tell. I bo song, So, yeah, and this is from their own experience. They actually experience it, the oppressive nature of this continuous breaking up. Yeah, and so from discussing with them, so the innocent way in which they report their experience, you can tell that their insight is genuine insight. It's not from the book. Sometimes yogi try to, impress the teacher, but they have a lot of book knowledge. I notice anicca. Once you say this, you say, forget it. Sometimes we ask them, how anicca? They cannot explain clearly. So, those who actually experience anicca don't have to tell you they're experiencing anicca. Just from describing their experience as they experience it, they are experiencing anicca. So their insight is genuine. Okay, so you can tell by discussing with them. So another way we can tell that the insight is genuine is also by observing how the effect of the insight on their behavior. Okay, so so if you're really practicing properly and the insight is very deep, it should transform. Insight is supposed to be transformative. It transforms the mind from within, from inside out. Okay, so you can see a person who has experienced insight, real insight before. So you find that they have a lot of detachment. They can let go of things very easily. They don't hold on to things. So of course, most of them not arahants yet. So they still have some attachment. But especially after coming out from a retreat, and the insight is still the impression is still so strong. So the detachment is very strong. You can let go very easily. It's something that they want. They still want things. But if you say, oh, we don't have it, they say, don't have it, okay, never mind. So if you say don't have it, but you offer an alternative, I say, oh, this one, okay lah, can be used also. So if they have very strong attachment, I want this means this, other things cannot, then there's a very strong attachment. So they can let go easily. So because you can let go so easily, the mind don't cling to this, don't cling to that. The mind is more free. They are more easygoing in their character. So you can see in some of the yogis who have practiced for a long time. So very easygoing. So the mind don't cling on to this, cling on to that. So that means also there's not so much defilements in the mind. They don't get agitated easily. So as compared to previously, because they can let go easily. They'll be more equanimous towards their experience. If you're not equanimous, you get easily excited, easily agitated, right? So especially yogis who have developed a very strong sankaropeka jnana, the mind is very steady. not easily shaken. So, yeah. And they're very firm in the faith in the Dhamma. It's very firm. You cannot, very difficult to shake them. So this is a yardstick to judge progress in the practice. Okay, so how much detachment, how much equanimity, how much steadiness, clarity of mind. The faith also, especially the faith in the practice is very strong. So you can see this change in the yogi. Okay, so you judge the practice in this way. Okay, not by what insight you have developed, what stage of insight. Sometimes yogis say, they come to this insight, but actually they experience it for one moment only. And then it disappears. Okay, so but because it has all these features, you say, I've already come to this stage in my practice. Okay, but you experience it for one moment, maybe 2 or 3 moments, but it is not transformative. It's not deep enough. The insight is not deep enough. You must experience it again and again and again, until the insight is deep enough to make an impression on the mind, to shake up the mind. The insight, it needs to be strong enough to be able to shake up the mind, so that the mind can let go of the attachment. If you just experience it a bit here, a bit there, it's not strong enough to shake up the entire mind, to transform the mind, to let go of attachment. And then you cannot see much transformation. In fact, you become more attached to the practice, attached to the insight. So people come and disturb you in the practice, you become angry. So you don't judge the practice by this. Okay, you don't judge by how long you have practiced. I practiced for 20 years already. But when you report, how is rising, falling, up and down? So also by not how slowly you can move. I can move. I take 15 minutes to do bowing. You 15 minutes only. I take 20 minutes. So, but what do you observe? So vipassana is not about all this. Vipassana is about how fast can the mind let go. How fast can it relinquish, let go of the attachment. Let go of attachment to that which is dukkha. So can you let go? Can you become immediately detached? That shows the power of vipassana. The detachment, the freedom in the mind that comes from it. Okay? And this can only come from true wisdom, true insight. Without this true wisdom, this true insight, you can say, let go, let go, let go. Sometimes I hear some yogis, the practice is everything that comes in their mind, they say, let go, let go, let go, let go. But without true insight, you let go. You let go with the left hand, you pick up with the right hand. So it can never be true letting go without wisdom. It is wisdom that cuts into the root of attachment, that loosen this root of attachment, and then finally pull it out. Through magga jnana, the magga wisdom, you pull it out. Okay, so without wisdom, there can be no true purification of the mind. So after this is actually to discuss about the dukkha lakkhana, how the characteristic of suffering, how it is concealed okay, and how it can be revealed by paying attention to the signs of suffering. Okay? But if I were to continue the discussion of this, I think we'll be here for a very long time. So I think I'll stop here today. So we'll talk about this dukkha lakkhana in the next Dhamma talk. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Buddham Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Dhammam Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Sangham Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Mata Pitunam Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Acharyanam Pujemi. Ada imaya Patipadaya Jaramranamha Parimochisami. Idam me punyam Asawakaya waham hotu. Idam me punyam Nibbanasa pacayo hotu. Idam me silam Magabhalanyanasa pacayo hotu. Imam no punya bhagam Sabbasatanam Dema. Imam no punya bhagam Sabbasatanam Dema. Imam no punya bhagam Sabbasatanam Dema. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So may all of you be well, happy, peaceful always. May you all be safe, be strong, be healthy always. May you all be able to continuously practice the Dhamma without any obstacles and hindrances. May your practice of the Dhamma be always smooth, and may you all be able to experience the unconditioned peace of Nibbana through your practice of the Dhamma.